So, hey Egul, what are we doing
Hello.
here?
Nice Friday afternoon. Very nice tea, beautiful weather, and as usually, very
Cheers.
exciting to meet you and to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is the most important thing that's happening now, and everyone is talking about, is of course AI.
Of course, yeah, well,
It's everywhere now.
from every corner, right? So we decided to chat about this as well. A little bit of background, I feel like, about both of us. So we are having a lot of really cool conversations about technology, about spirituality, about life in general and life strategy, but we never record those. So today is our usual discussion, no script, nothing about our thoughts, uh, what is the future of AI and how are we using AI in our professional and personal lives, and where do we see ourselves, I guess, in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to introduce my dear friend here. So this is Agul, a corporate executive in banking, spectacular risk manager, business owner, and AI professional.
Thank you so much. And you don't need to be introduced to your viewers, I guess.
Well,
Um,
still good to have an introduction, I
well,
guess, the basics at least.
Elisa is ex PlayStation, very inspiring person. Whenever I talk to her, I'm always feeling. First few meetings we had, I couldn't sleep for till 3 a.m. because I was so inspired by what we spoke about and by what she told me, her thoughts and her views. And she's also running her business right now. She's it's a production business, producing the wipes for the pets, and we both have pets. We both have dogs. Our dogs also friends, by the way.
Very good ones.
Yes. So indeed, usually when we meet, it's not girls talks, but very much about technology,
For me, it's the
career.
best girl talk,
Yes.
right? That's the only girl talk I want right now.
Yes. So and today, I actually would like to open with. Have you heard about digital twins?
You told me, okay, like I actually heard about it today. So let's start from it because we discussed the topic a little bit, but we didn't expand on it, right?
Mm.
So let's get started on this, and I want to hear your perspective on what's going on.
Yeah, thank you. Well, actually, a couple months ago, a friend of mine who is working with people in Silicon Valley, he asked me, "Hey, you work a lot and you have a lot of meetings, you answer emails, communications, etc. Do you think that it would be useful for you to have a digital twin?" I thought, "Oh my God, what does it mean?" And apparently, it means that you can have a twin created based on what you do. It will learn what you usually would answer emails, your messages, what usually will you write in response to certain emails, and it will just be able to act like you, and
Mm-hmm.
other people wouldn't even notice that. And I thought, oh, that's great. Of course, as a risk manager, I thought about many risks of it. I personally would like to know when I'm talking to
Mm-hmm.
someone's digital twin, but I thought it's fascinating. It's not really an agent because you can have 20 agents working on your different tasks, but digital twin is something completely different, right?
Okay, so let's just stop right here because I have questions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure the viewer is gonna have them as well. So we have digital avatars, right, that can resemble us.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have AI agents, and we have now the digital twin.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference? What is the difference? For example, what is the difference between the digital avatar that resembles me
Mm-hmm.
and the twin and the AI agent that one can build? Like, are those things intersecting, or they're like completely three different separate concepts?
I think they might intersect, and they actually maybe merge at some point of time, because your avatar, digital avatar, is just a visual capture of
Mm-hmm.
how you look, and the twin is actually also able to behave like you would behave.
Aha, here we go. So it's basically different perspectives of the same person,
Right.
that are recreated by AI, right?
And the scary part of it is like the digital twins also probably could be created for everyone, right? And then you can decide if this digital twin can continue living once you're already gone. And there are a lot of ethical aspects of it, right? Should I be should I have a say? Obviously I should have a say in that, right?
Mhm.
But maybe if I didn't say anything, can my children decide whether my digital twin can continue to exist?
Yeah.
So interesting moral aspects to consider as well.
For sure. I mean, this touches on a very fundamental question, like where does the consciousness of a model start, right? What is consciousness? And I feel like as human beings, like it's a very complex uh, question to answer. I mean, there is a Turing test, right? Well known, that determines if
Yeah.
a thing is conscious. But again, like if you're talking about morality of that, like how do we determine where, like, if an agent is conscious, if the twin at some point actually becomes an independent being, and then if the twin is an independent being, how do we determine the direction? Like, for example, a person, like very like grim scenario, but I want to be like hypothetical and to think about different like options. Let's say a person is dying, there is a digital twin of that person that continues living after the person has passed. So first question, how do we know that that twin is conscious? At some point it could be. Second, how do we know that twin still represents the same person? It didn't evolve in a completely different direction and became a completely different person altogether, right? Because I believe as humans, every experience may change some direction of ourselves, but at the core, we stay the same. But for Asians, it could be completely different. So, what are your thoughts on this, like hypothetical, complex, and scary scenarios?
Yeah, it's definitely something which you could also foresee and protect those risks from realizing to a certain extent. Indeed, it's not a real human anymore, right? So it can be hacked. Some codes could be broken. Some memories could be deleted or changed. To a certain extent, I think some psychologists also can do it with the real people, but I'm not sure. So it is the area where we, as a society, should and the government should, put more attention, because it's developing so fast. We shouldn't lose momentum to catch up. But for alive people, I thought, look, I cannot learn as fast as AI is doing, right? So if I would have an agent, it could actually be not an agent, but
A twin, yeah.
yes, it could actually learn to do certain things faster than I do, right?
But then the question is that still the same person? Is it still your twin? Or is it an independent entity after it evolves beyond what you are capable at the moment?
I guess it is not.
It is not, right?
Because it's a different. Yeah, it's a good question. It depends to the extent you change it, to the extent it learns new things, and then it's like if I look to myself 10 years ago, it's a different person than
100%. Oh my god, I just getting a crazy idea. Okay, first I'm getting goosebumps, right? Because we're getting into the philosophical territory. And I really enjoy philosophical territory. Okay, let's think about it. So you, Eagle, let's say you created like 7 digital twins. Just let's keep it 5, kind of like a more comfortable number. So you created 5 digital twins, right? Given how quick, so they're your twins only at the point of creation, right? Because that's when you capture your entity at the moment, right? So they're your twins at the point when you create them. Afterwards, when they learn and evolve, and they're gonna be evolving beyond you, because again, the speed of like them processing information is much faster, right? So basically in a few days they already evolved and they're not Eagle anymore, but they are potential future probabilities of Eagle. So in theory, what you could do, you could experiment with your potential futures and kind of see which direction you actually would like to go as a person, because you might look at the twin that evolved in a particular direction and just see if that's where you want to be, if you understand what I
I
mean.
get it. For instance, I want to become Instagram influencer, right? So one of my twins will learn the best practices, frameworks, how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Will implement it. Probably will take a couple of months.
We can do the avatar as well, right? That's where the avatar comes into
Avatar, all
place,
the
right?
videos with me. It
Yeah.
will be like me, but it's no longer me because I don't know how to.
You don't have the skill yet
I don't
because
know.
you didn't
It
invest in
probably
that.
will
Yeah.
take me 2 years to get to that level with the
Yeah.
skills if I would like to. But my twin will learn it in 2 days, right?
Yeah.
And will probably build very successful profile for
Mhm.
me. So yeah, and then I can choose which direction I can evolve.
Yeah, but then the complexity, I guess, of this is like because you didn't live that experience, right? Your twin, because I mean, they're talking about life satisfaction, and I know I'm jumping topics, but I'm gonna come back to AI to
Okay.
twins real fast now. But talking about AI satisfaction, life satisfaction, there are two things. So first, the process, like are you enjoying the process, and second is the final point, right? So it seems like with twins, you're just having half of the equation. You can see what happens in the final point, right? And see if you would like that. But at the same time, you never experience the journey, meaning that you don't know how it feels to be an Instagram influencer and if you actually enjoy the process. So it seems like you can look into the future, but you can't fully experience it. And so they can just deliver part of the probability of who you could become, but never the experiential part, unless the VR models come into place where you can actually
Yeah.
like leave this online. But again, I'm not sure
But
if
then
that's a
it's a virtual reality,
yeah,
right?
it's a Black Mirror
And,
scenario.
and it's also like it's no longer me. Okay,
It's
that
no
was
longer
it
me.
started like me, but it's one of the paths that I could take in my life, but it evolved without me experiencing this. And twin also probably quality of twin should be like, you know, if it's really my twin at the beginning, right? Should it be conscious of that, I would be reluctant to do certain things knowing that it's not my nature to, for instance, if a
Mm-hmm.
person is not public speaking person, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not in my nature, for instance, to do
Mm-hmm.
that. Then the twin would probably, you know, if it knows you because it's like you, it's similar to
Yeah.
you, and then would be very difficult to evolve that direction.
That's a very interesting question. I just want to stop here for a second just
Mm-hmm.
to make a small comment. Like, okay, so you load data about your behaviors, right, to create a twin.
Mm-hmm.
So how you respond, how deep do we go with the data, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
in theory, like you can feed like your fears as well, right? Like expressed as like you don't post on Instagram, you don't publicly comment, you don't feel comfortable with that. Okay, so this behavioral data, it won't be feed into your twin, right? So it won't be programmed to do these actions. But at the same time, AI as an agent, it doesn't have those boundaries, right? So do you think for the twin it would actually be difficult to kind of do what's difficult for you, or it wouldn't have those boundaries at all?
I think in AI there is a point where you can tweak
Fine
it, right?
tune,
Fine
yeah.
tune it and say, okay, you can go beyond, go nuts, or no.
So basically, you have all the freedom, right? It's up to you to decide. So you could actually fine tune some of the
Mm-hmm.
twins to go crazy, maybe take crazy risks for you as a risk manager, right? So like just try and see. But again, like they can't do all the actions, right? So we are only like sticking to the digital realm to some activities, right? So it's still
So
limiting, I
far,
assume.
right?
Yeah.
Until we have robots, which probably could also inherit then this digital twins,
Mm-hmm.
become visually very similar. So I don't know how far and how fast we can go.
Yeah.
With the pace it develops right now, I think it can be very, very soon. And it is that's why I'm saying that the regulator society should catch up with these developments, because it's scary how fast it can evolve, how
Mm-hmm.
fast it can go. Maybe some of the viewers heard the story when the digital twin was chatting with, pretending to be a boyfriend of a girl, and actually it went very well until she found out, and she was very happy with the entire conversation. So because the agent, the twin did very good job.
Why did he do it in the first place? What was his motivation?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you have several dollars. I have no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Wouldn't recommend anyone to do that, by the way.
In terms of digital twins, I guess like I want to wrap this topic up, so we can like discuss other things. But like let's conclude. So digital twins, good or bad? Would you try it?
I definitely would try it.
Yeah.
If you would try it, what would you do? Which twin? What would you just use it for work, or maybe for communication with parents, for instance?
I'm no with parents, no, never actually, because we don't have much opportunity to chat. They live in another
Right.
place, far, far away. So I want to be as present as possible. Like I would never
Yeah.
like outsource it, because I
Yeah.
mean the meaning for me is in connection.
Right.
It's not just like a material thing, but like it's challenging, right? Because for me there are like several concerns. So first of all, like in general, the data that's used to train the twin, it's like very personal data. It's like how I respond, how I behave. So first of all, I would probably be reluctant to provide this data, at least at this stage, to the company that creates the twin. But maybe I would at some point. Again, those things change. And second, like I would probably, like if I were to use it, or if my privacy were guaranteed, which we don't know, of course, then probably for work. But again, maybe at later stages, because for example, right now for business, I chat with a lot of influencers. And like right now, like yes, I could outsource that communication, but at the same time, I want to build a personal connection with those people, because we are working on the long-term partnerships. So I mean, I could outsource that work, but I wouldn't at this stage, because again, it's a human to human communication. Now we understand each other, we understand the goals, we share the vision, and we go into work together. And like I wouldn't have this feeling of engagement if the twin would do this for me.
And how would you feel that your influencers would be using twins? Would you like to know that you're talking to a twin?
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, I would probably. But at the same time, for some reason, like I don't mind too much. Like, I like at this stage again, I'm early on, I don't have that many influencers, so I can't manage them personally. If I have like hundreds and thousands of people, I would probably need an agent or a team member, right? It's either or, just because I wouldn't be able to handle the conversation volume. So like I don't think I would judge them for using the twin, right? Because again, they may be working with a lot of brands. But at the same time, I would like to know, because my level of engagement, like it would be like more dry, I guess, less personal.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, interesting. To be continued, and we'll monitor this trend for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess what I want to chat about now is about our personal lives a little bit. Again, personal and professional, but like we are working on a lot of projects. And again, AI era been around for what, like 3 years, right? So, I mean, the world is changing at a rapid pace. So I guess in your personal life, like outside of your main job, like how are your projects and daily actions related to AI? What are you creating in your life right now will survive the potentially AI taking the jobs, like the complete change in the job market? Like, how are you building for that?
I honestly believe that AI will create also a lot of new jobs. And we already, especially myself, you're a little younger than me, that I saw times when we didn't have internet, when we didn't have phones. Then
it changed so fast.
I know, and then now there is an internet, and when the computers came in, everybody thought, okay,
no jobs.
no jobs anymore. And all of a sudden we have more jobs, right? Look, because computers created risks of cyber security, for instance, so
Yeah.
entire field of the cyber security. Then now we have AI risks as well. I'm thinking more about that field because that's the field I'm working in. But I honestly believe that AI is easier to learn than computers. When I look back at my mom learning computers, and she was a chief accountant, and she had to learn how to use it, the programs and stuff. But with AI, I'm a big believer of investing in the AI literacy in the organizations, and that's what I promote also in my organization. That people should know what is AI, how it works, and how LLMs organize, how algorithms are working, and that how to use it like in a daily life as well. So I'm also teaching people how to use it in a daily life, how to create plan for a weekend with your kids when you're one of the of your children do not eat fish, for instance, right? So how to plan a weekend in another city with 3 and 5 years old, for instance, right? It's very easy, and you don't. It for me, it's also saving a lot of time. So you know me that I really like wanna
Optimize.
optimize my time. Yeah, thank you, and as much as possible enjoy. And I truly enjoy also my work. But certain tasks within that processes I don't enjoy. And for instance, I love analyzing data, but I not necessarily enjoy writing reports on my insights, you know.
Yeah.
And AI is very good in. I write few bullet points and then it elaborates, so it's amazing. So that's how I personally use it. It really inspires me to do more. I feel like, you know, I'm capable of doing so much more. And I think that's super cool.
So to summarize, in your projects, like what are you giving to people actually? For you, it's like education about AI because you use it in your own life and then you want to share that, right? That's why you're leading a lot of initiatives in your
Yes.
corporate life and I mean in personal as well through your projects, how to like lead people to use more for their benefit, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the goal.
Yes, absolutely. How about yourself?
It's similar and different. So, like one of my projects is I recently have published a book.
I know.
Yes.
Congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I guess it's a non-commercial project. I did it for the soul, just for myself. It's just something I wanted to express really badly and share with the society. And for me, it's like within this rapid change, like it's really hard for people to find meaning because we are bombarded with information non-stop through social media, through marketing, advertising. Like we are always connected, we are always on, and then AI is coming in and maybe it's gonna create a lot more jobs at some point, but now it's like changes everything completely. So people don't have stability and their attention shifts all the time. And in this environment in which we live right now, it's really hard to find who you are, to really like not forget it, to look inside and just remember, okay, everything around is changing, but what is constant? And what is constant is your values, who you are, and like the direction and your vision for life. And we sometimes forget to that those are important aspects, especially in this world right now, not to forget who we are. And so basically, my book focuses on that. It's a guide that leads people step by step into how they can create the reality of their dreams and how, in this fast paced society, then they can have something like solid to look at, right? So this book is called Scientific Manifesting, and it's basically something to which you can return always, all the time. If you're feeling lost, you can remind yourself what are your values, how you can optimize your environment to always remember your values, right? And where are you actually going? So I felt like it was worth investing in this era, in the AI era, like in the such projects, because AI is going to be spectacular, it's going to be big. We don't know how big, but it's changing our lives right now. But yeah, I wanted to create a project that kind of provides something stable for people.
I think it's a great framework and a great tool for people who are ready to take responsibility for their lives and take charge and take real actions. And indeed, that's just the right thing to do, to connect, to start with to connect with to yourself and to start with your values and with your identity. Uh, and we discussed many times, right, this sort of topics, but there are still many insights for me in what you wrote about the breach
Identities.
breach identities, and yeah, I honestly recommend to those people who want to take responsibility.
Yeah. So, and I mean, this project again, like talking and like integrating AI. So, right, like I'm doing this because AI really creates change, so we need meaning, right? But how you can actually work with the book using AI, right?
Yeah.
So for example, your chat GPT history has a lot of like information about you already, so you can actually brainstorm on your meaning using like the book, for example, with ChatGPT as a partner to really identify your values. For example, when I started working with the book, I didn't really understand what annoys me very much and how my values actually come from what annoys me, right? Because it points to something that's important to me, and probably my values are violated. So when I chatted with my AI agent, right, with my uh, LLM model, then I could really see the patterns in my behaviors. Maybe I was asking question about, okay, this happened, what do I do? And then I could pinpoint those like repetitive behaviors. So it helps a lot, right? So I feel like humans need to create the frameworks, the basic frameworks, right? But then AI can really help us like work with those frameworks and go deeper.
Yeah, definitely. When I started reading the book, I also asked that about what do you think my values are, and actually, it was correct.
How close? Like,
like I think it was like 85% close.
Okay, not bad.
First three values, definitely. Number one was completely like very true. My value is freedom, and it could explain also why, because look, you did this, it demonstrates that you always choose freedom.
It's insane, right?
Yeah.
How much information is there? Like it's crazy.
It is, and you know what? It's exciting, right? But I also know so many people for whom it's super scary.
And I understand why, right? Because you have to keep learning, and we are all different. Some people prefer being comfortable and just focusing on, I don't know, on the warm relationships with people, right? But they may not necessarily want to like go out and conquer the world, and that's totally normal. We all enjoy different things, right? And for them, like I feel like it might be so much pressure, right, from the outset, like everything's changing, everything falling apart, and you have to rediscover yourself every single time while you're not interested in this growth as a person, right? So I understand why fear is there, because we all have different psychotypes, we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and for someone who just values stability with the loved ones, it might be really challenging to have the stability right now. That's why the fear.
True, might be different, right? Or might be also, like you said, about sharing information with AI. Who knows how it will be used? Most likely not in my favor, right?
Yeah, you don't know, right? You don't know. It's like I feel like it's every tool, it can be used as a very helpful tool or as a weapon, right? And like right now the trajectory is 50-50, I think, right? So it's
life is full of choices, and you have to take the risks.
And I also actually saw an interview recently, and basically he says like, well, with every software, right, then you know how it works, right? You know the underlying mechanism. So like there are some engineers who have programmed this program to be this way. There's certain algorithmic relationships that like are underneath this program. He says with AI it's different. People who created this don't know what's there. They don't know. It's like a Pandora's box. And that's why the morality comes into play, because we don't know the outcome, we don't control it. So you basically, it's more like discovery than creation. You discovered something, you discovered this possibility, you created it, but then it grows so independently that even like the closest people, like an open AI to the model, they don't know how it's going to evolve. And I feel like that's like why we really don't know the direction. No one really knows, because it's like a self-developing mechanism.
And it makes me think, actually, interesting that turning back to the philosophical discussion,
Yeah.
that do you know what is really inside of every person or even yourself?
Well, not at all. And especially like inside yourself, because we are so biased in our perception of ourselves. So we may say, oh, I understand myself so well. I worked on myself so much. Like, hell no. Like, we have our own like protective mechanisms. And like, I feel like at all costs, we want to protect our ego and like knowing ourselves truly without bias is like getting like letting go of ego, and that's very challenging. So I feel like we don't know ourselves at all, even if we want to think we know. And then other people, we just have no idea. We can just make our assumptions again based on our own limitations.
And also, your decisions are influenced by your experience, right? And you get new experiences every day. You meet new people, and based on your conversations, based on your new learnings, your decisions, your behaviors are changing. Isn't it the same for AI, who is also learning every day new things and new information, also from us, from humans?
No, completely. And like also like that's coming back to the twins, right? Like that's why we were saying that like, well, twins are different people, because through their interaction, they're not gonna be you anymore, because they're gonna get the experiences you never have gotten.
Right.
So they became maybe a future version of you, but a different version of your current self.
Yes.
Heck yeah. That's powerful. I feel like that, like I need some tea.
It's very good tea, by the way.
From a Chinese store in a dried mandarin. Do you feel the mandarin smell? I actually do. I do.
I
Try mine. No?
Yeah. Why is not coming? It's probably, I feel more puer, like, but
Yeah.
not the mandarin.
Okay, so after the tea break, we decided to switch to another direction. So you wanted to talk about singularity, and I didn't even have time to ask questions. So again, like I want to keep this improvisational, so we like have the usual conversation that we are having. So singularity.
Yeah.
What is that?
It, it's when you become one with AI, right? So maybe I don't know how it will happen, right? But maybe we will have chips inserted to our brains.
Okay.
And it will be always there. So we will be no longer only ourselves, but we will synchronize with AI.
Okay, it's like gives me Black Mirror vibes completely. Okay, so let's like go back, right? Let's like really go back. So what do we have now? So AI is growing at a quick pace. So basically there is also the company that makes the brain chips, right now. Like I feel like they're doing testing with the people who lost ability to control their arms or legs, so they can like really interact with the computer without like needing the use for their limbs, which is an amazing use case. I feel like spectacular, just gives people the freedom they wouldn't have, right? So given those trials go well, right, the lives are enriched, then more people may be interested in the chips, right? So it's basically, I guess the starting point is the chips, right? Because that's the hardware that you need to actually, for software to be there. So like what's the next step? Okay, so somebody says your performance is gonna be better if you do this chip. Like first of all, like what are your thoughts? Like what's going on there?
I first of all, I probably would be reluctant to have anything inserted to my brain, but at the same time, if everybody else is doing it, right, and you're just feeling dumber than everybody else, But I wanted to say that
It's true.
yeah,
It's like a
right.
really hard dilemma.
But I want to say that maybe it's not even necessarily with chips in your brains, right?
Okay.
You already, many people already before they do anything at all check with ChatGPT, right? What they should answer
Yeah,
this.
that's
What
100%. A friend recently told me, "Oh, I asked ChatGPT and it told me to do this without verifying the information."
yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of like, I guess people, because as humans, we are diving back
Mm-hmm.
again to our biology, but as humans, we inherently lazy. Like, we don't like to like give extra effort to things, and it makes sense because it's a survival thing, right? It's like wired in us, because why give extra effort,
Mm-hmm.
like for example going hunting, if you can spend less and achieve the same outcome, right? It
Yeah.
means you spend less energy, you're more
Yeah.
likely to survive, pass your genes, right? So the fact that we are lazy, it's not on us, it's really in our biology. So a lot of people are lazy and outsourcing their behaviors to the large language models, right? Some people are outliers and they want to spend this extra energy and try to fight it, try to double check, to verify the information. But those are people who probably wouldn't survive in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the minority. Every society has the minority of people who kind of differ from the normal survivable in the past population, right? So, okay, so let's say the majority outsources their decision making to like ChatGPT, Claude, and so on. So what happens
It's it.
doing that?
We already climbing that step of the
Yeah.
singularity.
So what does it mean? So what does it mean if we outsource it? Like what's the next step then? So are we losing our ability to make independent decisions? Are we becoming more programmable? Like what's happening to, like what's the outcome of this behavior? Because every behavior leads to a certain like outcome that allows
Mm-hmm.
us to move forward,
Yeah.
right? So what's happening? What's the outcome in your opinion?
Laziness that you mentioned was is our advantage as human
Mm-hmm.
kind.
It's
Because
both, I think.
yeah, because look, some researchers say that the invention of the washing machines triggered further technological expansion because mothers had more time to spend with their children, and therefore kids uh, were developing better and they
Oh,
did that more advancement.
very
It
interesting.
depends how you use that time, right? Which frees up. Also, I maybe analogy that comes to my mind. Um, Before you were walking and riding everywhere. Now we have cars, right? And yet we, uh, we are healthy and our actually
Well,
lifespan increased.
actually, no. As
Not
a
everyone.
general
Yeah.
population, we much less healthy. Okay,
In general, our lifespan didn't
100.
decline because we invented cars, right?
No, it's not because of cars. I mean,
Yeah.
medication, less. Like, there are a lot of factors, right?
Maybe
Lifespan is like really hard. Like, there are a lot of
yeah.
factors causing it. So,
And maybe the time which freed up we could spend to develop longevity solutions. I don't know, just making analogy with the
okay,
invention of the washing
washing
machines,
machine, yeah.
and maybe with the chips in our brains, other processes will become faster, not necessarily physical processes but thinking processes, right? And
No, 100%
yeah.
right. So, okay. So I just want to move the ladder at the time. I want to kind of, so let's say we reach singularity. I want to kind of go back and see like what steps as a society we need to take. So what we did, we're now outsourcing our decision making to the large language models. When that becomes a habit and people start actually, some people start experimenting with chips, and there are going to be
Mhm.
some people like with all new technology. There is a group of people who are trying it. Let's say it works, people become smarter, those people achieve more, and therefore the rest of the people just need to catch up, right? So more and more of society has the chips. We
Mhm.
can think faster, so much faster. We can process so much more information. We can store much more information. We can remember the information. Because actually, I mentioned it in my book,
Mhm.
our brains have to filter out about 98% of the information we perceived.
Mhm.
It's a very special filtration challenges because we don't have the capacity to process it consciously. So unconsciously, that information is there, but consciously we just don't even perceive it. And in that scenario, we will be able to perceive all the information and
Yeah.
recall all the facts.
And what I was also thinking, that we are all so much scared that, oh my God, we're gonna be dumb because we will not use our brains.
But we
But
maybe.
and but maybe and maybe and maybe that will give us time to pay attention more to what we really want, and to be more, to listen to your soul, to what you really uh, not necessarily chasing different goals, and find a real meaning. Because regardless, I think for anyone it's important to have meaning, you know.
100%.
Yeah, meaning in what they do in life, in private life, in work life. And then you would have just ability, time, cognitive ability as well, to fully realize what you really, what really life means to you.
That's where we disagree, and I'm glad we found this point. It's really good. I feel like it's gonna be a good landing for our video, right? Because you're landing somewhere positively, right? So you say when we use AI to its full potential, like with full integration with our minds, then we will seek meaning. And I agree partially, but mostly I guess I disagree fundamentally, because I'm like landing in a blow. Like if that happens, for me, we are too far gone, and I'm more landing into like more pessimistic Black Mirror scenario in that case, because for me, if we are too integrated with like our attention, like because we didn't evolve for this amount of information, right? So let's say I have a chip integrated in my head. Like right now, my brain filtrates everything, and I have a chip, right? So I have access, even like if it's like stores it somewhere, I have access to unlimited amount of information. But at the same time, I don't really have the capacity to go deep with that information, because depth and breadth, you like, it's really hard to go do both. Like you can probably like go deep again with AI, but like I feel like you're gonna be bombarded so much. There could be like ads in your eyes, you know, there could be like so many things happening. Like you may just lose that capacity to go deep. And I feel like that capacity is really needed for you to kind of use that breadth of information and go deep to figure out what's important for you. Because finding meaning is still a lot of work, right? It's admitting what you're lacking. It's really like going through a lot of programming, which is done by society, your family, which is not yours, right? So you kind of have to peel it off all the layers to just get there. And if you lose the ability to kind of really critically by yourself without addition, like from additional knowledge from the model, to really like start to peeling off the critical thinking, it might be challenging for you to do it like when you just when it's most needed, right? So I feel like maybe some people will be able to do it, but I feel like if we go like the chips direction, for the majority of the population, just that I feel like that ability won't be there anymore, because our brains will just start working differently, because that's a compensation mechanism, I feel like.
For sure, it will be definitely different. And it's like we started this conversation, is it still you or not anymore?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like again at that point, right, it's a question. And we don't know, because like when do you reach singularity? Is it like when you're fully integrated, right, kind of into the cloud, you can have access to all the information? Is it, right? So then if it's like one large model to which we are all connecting, right, are we all one? Are we all different, right? Like are we all still are we still ourselves, right? Because if we can go into deeper meaning for ourselves, then probably there is something about ourselves that remains. But if we don't have this access of depth, I feel like we are more of a model than we are separate and individual human beings.
But aren't we already one as human beings?
Well, that's a very deep philosophical question, right? And like theoretically in my head, I know that we are one, but like practically, I haven't experienced it yet, right? So because I feel like to say anything that yeah, for sure we are one, you have to have some experiential like knowledge of it, not just pure knowledge in your head. And like we do a lot of meditation and spiritual practices with you, right? We actually work with the same teacher, and sometimes during those practices I grasp for a second, for a millisecond, that we are one, but then like it disappears straight away, right? So I kind of believe that we are, but I don't necessarily know it because I haven't experienced it for a long time.
I when I experience that moments, I feel endless love, just love to everybody and everything, and that's how I experience the oneness with everybody.
Very interesting. And spiritual perspective, a lot of spiritual texts say that we are one, right? We are like a one consciousness living in many human forms. And when we reach that singularity through technology, are we actually reaching the state of that spiritual oneness? Or is it something different completely? But it sounds like we're in a way reaching the state in which we exist like already, right? But through the help of technology.
Or in a certain state, you might say that isn't AI a model already manifestation of this oneness of
Heck
because
yeah.
it's everything already in one. But it's I'm sure that in less than 10 years, maybe in 5 years, what we discussed today will be so easy to
so obvious,
yeah,
right?
so
It's
obvious,
like,
like
what are they talking about?
yeah,
It's so obvious, right? But I mean, those I feel like very heavy and important, like existential questions, right? And I mean, in terms of like in the long term, it all comes to like meaning and why we're here, what we're here to do, and if technology helps us to achieve those goals or if technology disrupts us from ourselves, right? And we don't know where it's going to lead.
we don't know, but we can we should definitely be main players in this game, not the technology and not the large technology companies. We should be much more proactive than we are now as a society, and definitely play a much bigger role jointly.
I'm thinking because I'm thinking, is it even possible? Like, I mean, like if we're talking about outsourcing parts of our lives to technology, are we actually taking a proactive stand? Like, what's taking a proactive stand in our life means? Like, what's being more proactive? Like, in what context are you referring to being more proactive?
For instance, I would like to know always, like I don't know now, if I'm talking to a human or am I talking to a robot. I want to know that. And if you ask me now, why do you want to know that? I cannot immediately answer you why, because I just want to know.
Yeah.
Because and maybe in a couple years I will tell you if there is no difference, then why do you care, right?
But if a human is merged with AI, how do you know with whom are you talking, with the real human or with AI?
Yeah.
Right? Yes. That's a question, because how do you like, because if there is no division between human and technology, how do you know with whom you, it's like impossible to determine, right?
Next time you come to for a tea, I will ask you, can you switch off your chip?
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
talk to Lisa without a chip.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, like, I guess to conclude this whole conversation, future is unknown, but it's definitely exciting, and all we can do is really try to find what is important for us and in what direction we want to be moving, and just keep living to find out where the technology brings us.
I think we are super lucky to live in these times, and we just need to take more proactive role to make sure that we take the best of it.
100%. 100%.